my fellow Bahamians. Now tonight I have two important national issues to discuss with you, and these issues affect your future. This includes our plans for the economic growth and development of Grand Bahama. The urgent national issues I want to discuss with you concerns the critical matters of national defense and national security. I must also discuss with you and every Bahamian the very integrity of government at the highest level. I ask you to listen to what I have to say rather than applaud or make any noise at all. Just hear me. The leader of the opposition, a former Prime Minister, who's seeking to once again become Prime Minister of the Bahamas and hold that high office, has publicly stated that he is a paid consultant for a foreign oil company. The company is seeking to explore and drill for oil in Bahamian territorial waters. In Friday's Nassau Guardian, the leader of the opposition said the following about his involvement with that foreign company. I quote, "I consult and work the firm deems I'm qualified by the office I've had, with the knowledge that I have in terms of government," end of quote. The foreign oil company is seeking government approval to drill an oil well in Bahamian waters by next year. Mr. Christie's deputy leader, his law firm, is also involved with the very same foreign oil company. Mr. Jerome Gomez, the PLP candidate for Kalani in the general election, was the same foreign oil company resident country manager before it set up its own office in the Bahamas. My fellow Bahamians, the approval for drilling for oil in the pristine waters of the Bahamas is among the most momentous decisions that any government of the Bahamas will ever have to make. The decision by your government should never be influenced by any financial relationship that exists between the company seeking the permit and its paid consultants and attorneys. It's a decision with wide ramifications that will affect the very nature and essence of who we are as a country. When Mr. Christie agreed to become a consultant for the company, it would have been with the full knowledge and intention of using his position, past and present, and his access to government agencies, whether as government or as the former government, to influence a decision by the Bahamas government with respect to any application by that foreign oil company. As the country prepares for a general election, the leaders of both major parties have an obligation to be transparent and upfront with the Bahamian people on this critical issue. The leader of the opposition must answer some very critical questions. The Bahamian people deserve and demand to know how long he has been a consultant for this oil company. These are his words. Listen very carefully. If there's an issue that needs advice, on, whether or not they need someone to speak to the issue of environmental impact, the issue of whether or not, in my judgment, the matter is worthy for the government to approve, whether or not an application is ready, whether or not they should employ and who should go on the board of directors, whatever views they ask of the firm regard it as necessary, they will consult me on it. Those are the services I provide, end of quote. What the leader of the opposition says sounds like he's involved in operational matters on behalf of the company. In many jurisdictions in the world, the services Perry Christie is providing would be called lobbying. In plain English, it would be called influence peddling. Was he hired for his legal expertise or because he was a potential prime minister? Is it a mere coincidence that a foreign oil company decided to hire as consultants and pay handsomely the two most senior leaders of the official opposition and potentially two senior leaders of the executive branch of the government in which they are seeking to drill for oil? Fellow Bahamians, you must decide before the election whether you find acceptable or unacceptable such an extraordinary and potentially blatant conflict of interest by our opponents on one of the most momentous decisions this country will ever make. There must be no question or appearance of the possibility of a grave conflict of interest or the potential for secret deals which can compromise the individual who serves as your Prime Minister. You should have no doubt where I stand on this issue as we prepare for election. I've said before, in the media and the House of Assembly, and I tell you now, a government led by me will not agree to any drilling for oil in the Bahamas until all necessary and appropriate regulations are in place, and until we are fully and competently in a position to regulate such activity so as to protect our environment and that of the world's ocean beyond from harmful and risky activity in our country and in our waters. I am not unmindful of what happened in the Gulf of the coast of Louisiana just 2 years ago. And certainly we do not have the resources, human or financial, nor the ability to respond as the United States government responded. We are not in a position now to regulate and oversee drilling for oil in our waters. My greatest obligation is to do what I think is right to do at any given time to protect the best interests of you, the Bahamian people, and that of future generations. I will not take any deliberate action to cause harm to our country, regardless of the promised financial reward for a select few consultants and legal representatives. We in the FNM do not go that way. We accept that we are different, distinctly different from them. For me, putting Bahamians first is a solemn duty. It's not a slogan I throw around in order to win votes. Putting Bahamian first is a duty. I've sworn to uphold each time I place my hand on the Bible and promise to abide by the Constitution and protect the interests of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. If Perry Christie really wanted to put you and every other Bahamian first, he would not have agreed to become a paid consultant for a foreign oil company. This has cast doubt on where his true allegiance will be when it's decision time. I have no such conflict of interest. My only interest will be your interest. My only interest will be put to every Bahamian. My only interest will be to put every Bahamian man, woman, or child first.